Hey everybody, Dylan from Noble Records coming at you with another video. This one is my Vinyl Tag 2021. If you've not been watching like a lot of vinyl community videos, basically it's something that we kind of all do every year. There's a set of questions that's put out and everybody kind of answers the same set of questions. What I really like about the Vinyl Tag is if you've never done a channel before, it's an easy intro to the vinyl community to where you want to start your own channel and answer the questions. It's a great intro video. It always brings in new people every single year. And then also if you kind of have a creative block and you don't know what video to make next, it's easy. Anybody can do it, is answer the questions. So I didn't come up with these questions. I think Andrew from Tales from the Crate comes up with them now. But anyways, so I'm just going to throw it in there and we're going to answer these questions and roll through it. So basically just talking about records for 30 minutes or so. Hope you guys enjoy. So first question, and I'll put the questions below. I'll put them in my the description. First question is a discovery in 2020. I discovered a lot of really great things in 2020, as I always do every year. Part of how my job on a record store is to constantly be trying to discover new bands and stuff I want to stock in the shop. There's so many bands out there, so many artists out there. I don't necessarily want to reserve space for every single, you can't have everything in your shop. So I try to kind of be pretty selective on the things that I try to bring in the shop based on what my customers like. And all that stuff. And so I'm always learning and researching new artists and stuff just to kind of, so I've found a lot of really cool bands this year, but this is an old band, The Undertones. This is really great. I guess you'd say punk. This is a fantastic record. The first time I heard it, I was hooked. 1979. So, this is the attic dig I did. This is autographed by two of the guys in the band. So that's pretty cool. But anyways, The Undertones, really good. It's not like really aggressive punk. It's UK punk type of, it's a little on the softer side, I guess you'd say. I don't know much about punk, so my descriptive words are never good, but anyways, it's an interesting record. It's really good. I really enjoy that, and the adverts are two I discovered this year, and absolutely love them both. Been listening to them like crazy. Next one is a quarantine buy. So I don't remember when exactly I bought this, but this is a record I've been looking for a really long time. This is Clear Blue Sky. If you like that early 70s hard rock with really killer guitar solos, this is on Vertigo, and it's that. So it's got the Vertigo swirl. I knew this record, had a reissue of it forever, and I just kind of decided I wanted to get an original. I found this one on eBay for a pretty good deal, and I snagged it, okay? I think I bought it in January, and I didn't get it till like April. So it was in the mail. It came from Japan, I think. It's not Japanese press. I think this is a UK. But it just took freaking forever. And when I got it, I listened to it like crazy because I absolutely love it. But Clear Blue Sky, this is a really, really smoking record. The next one is a concept album. No. Next one is an LP you want to find in 2021. I didn't think about this question, but I'll tell you. I really would like, I've been talking about this, I'd like to get the Farm album, Farm 1971. I'd like to get, basically I'm looking for some of the Papa's Blues albums that I'm missing. I think I'm missing Volume 5, Volume 4. There's a bunch of like South American hard rock, psych rock. There's a bunch of Japanese hard rock, psych rock I'm looking for. I'm looking for the Ann Briggs records. I'm looking for some Vertigo stuff. I'd like to get an original of Toad. Oh shoot, that might be one of the later questions. I can't remember, but that's some that have been high up on my want list. Just to get some. I've got right now the ones that I'm like actively really looking for are kind of rare. So there's no like Tom Petty records or anything I want. I've got all that stuff. So anyways, so that's kind of what I've been looking for. Would like to have another turquoise Zeppelin 1 at some point in my life. So let's see. The next one is a box set. So here's a box set I don't think I've showed yet. This is my Bob Marley and the Wailers Complete Island Recordings box set. And it's like a Zippo. And it's actually still sealed. I got this a couple months ago. And I haven't opened it up, but I'm going to. But it's very cool. As you can see, it's got that Zippo top that opens up. And you got all the records inside. It's, you know, Catch a Fire, Burning, Natty Dread, Live, Rustman Vibration, Exodus, Kaya, Babylon by Bus, Survival, Uprising, Confrontation. So it is a hefty, hefty box set. Very, very cool. And I'm going to open it up soon when I get in a Marley mood, and I'm just going to bang it out and listen to all of them. I will open it up. Concept album. Now, a lot of people are going to be showing like Pink Floyd The Wall. I went a little bit off the beaten path of what you would think would be a concept album, but this is a concept album. I've talked about this record on my channel a few times, but I like to mention it every once in a while if you guys have missed any of my videos. This is a artist called Sleeping at Last. This is a box set, like a 3 LP box set, but it's called Atlas Year 1. I also have Atlas Year 2. But basically, he did this concept album based around like just all the different points of life. And like for instance, some of the songs are called, I don't know, when it starts out, like the first song talks about like birth, and then like just kind of different seasons of your life. And then you get down to like the third side, which is side C. It's Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Moon, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, North, South, East, West, Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Southern, Arctic. So it's like all these different parts of the Earth as well. So like it starts off as like parts of yourself, and then it goes into all these different parts of the Earth and all these different planets. It's really, really cool, but it's not like about geography. It's like the lyrics are so strong and so good, and the type of music it is very ambient singer-songwriter type stuff. He also does like covers of songs. So you know how you'd be watching a show and you hear a cover of like an old song and you're like, man, that's really good. Who did that? He does a lot of stuff like that. So he has like albums of covers and stuff, but his music is absolutely fantastic. This is something I think everyone in the world would like. I really don't think anyone couldn't like this type of music. But we discovered Sleeping at Last a few years ago, and it is just a really, really cool music project. I would strongly suggest, if you haven't heard Sleeping at Last, go through and listen to Atlas Year 1. You can stream it on iTunes or whatever, but this is really good. But it's a concept album. Let's see. An album where an artist/band changed directions. Now, I don't know if you guys would agree with me here, but I feel like Frank Zappa changed directions when he made this Hot Rats. This is the Argentinian press called Ratas Calientes, Hot Rats. And this is a really cool music hall pressing. When I found this, I just had to have it because it was just so cool. But I love this album. Before this, I'll be honest, okay? I like Frank Zappa, but I don't like all Frank Zappa. There's a season in my life where I thought he was really cool, and I do think Zappa's awesome. And I want to get all his albums. If you like all Frank Zappa's albums, you might be a psychopath. There's so many different lanes he's been in. I'm just joking about that. You very well may like all Frank Zappa's albums, but for me, they're all so different. The early stuff is okay. Freak Out's amazing. But then like some of the other ones are a little weird. Like the Mother stuff I'm not totally into. Overnight Sensation, don't care for it. Stuff like that. What is it? I can't remember. But anyways, a lot of them have completely different styles. But this is when he started doing more palatable, like, even though it's not like classic rock, but like more palatable rock and roll music. He did this and Chunga's Revenge. And both of those, I think anyone could like. And I really like that type of Zappa stuff. To where he just did really good guitar work. It was very it was more focused around guitar, which I really like. Zappa's a fantastic guitar player. He's a brilliant genius. There's a really cool documentary on Netflix right now. I believe it's on Netflix, but it's about Frank Zappa. It's really good. But anyways, if you like all Frank Zappa stuff, that's fantastic. I do not. I've come to the place in my life where I can admit I just can't with some of his stuff. But this I can, and I think that he kind of changed directions 1,000 times in his career. But that was one point where he changed where I was like, okay, all right. Next one is a white label promo. I don't know that I've showed this. I've got a lot of white label promos. And a lot of people ask, like, what's the deal with white label promos? They're just cool. A lot of people ask, do they sound better? The thing is that white label promos are supposed to sound better because they're the earliest stamper. You know, you get the freshest stamp, I guess. Does it sound that much better? I don't know. So, some I feel like do, some don't. It's splitting hairs at that point, I think. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But anyways, this is a white label promo. I like promos because they're cool. And they are the earliest pressings. And there's just something cool about it being a promotional copy. I think that kind of tickles the collector bone. But this is the Allman Brothers Band. This is a white label promo of their self-titled Allman Brothers Band. It's a stereo promo, but this is the only one I've ever seen that's a white label promo of theirs, which is really cool. But like I said, I show white label promos all the time, and I love them, but that's one I haven't shown in a while. A compilation album. Now, I've got two here, and these are albums that I grew up on, just like crazy, and I looked for these for years because they're really hard to find on vinyl. What year did this come out? It's in the 90s, had to be 99. Holy moly. How did these even get pressed on vinyl? 99 and 2000. This is Led Zeppelin, early days and latter days. I haven't shown these in a really long time, but I don't even remember where I got these, but I looked for these forever because I had the CD growing up, and this is the early days. It's got, you know, all the good stuff up until Zeppelin 4. Just like hits, you know. And I grew up listening to this more than anything. I did have Zeppelin albums, but when I was in the car or I had my Walkman or whatever, I think these CDs I listened to like crazy, specifically this one. And I remember there was a certain point in time, like I had a friend, that was my favorite one out of the two. This is the latter days. And I had a friend that always said that this was his favorite. And I was like, I don't get how you can like the later stuff more. But then there was a certain time where it kind of switched. And I was like, I kind of do like the later stuff more. And so I always went back and forth. But there's just it is almost two completely different eras. Like the complexity of the songs really grow. Like you could tell that their songwriting and musicianship was growing together, you know, in the second one, you know, which is the later stuff. So I really like both of those. They're really, I think they're pretty hard to find. That's the only pair of them I've ever found. Let's see, the next one is an album that tells a story. Now, not like an album music tells a story, but you have a story about an album. And I've shared this story before, but it's one of my favorites, and I'll very briefly go through it. Hello. This is John Wesley Harding by Bob Dylan. It's a pretty good album. It's one of my favorite Bob Dylan albums. But I was 15 years old, and I had taken a school trip to New York City. If you've heard the story, just fast forward a little bit. When we were in New York City, it was my goal to find some records because there was a lot more there than in rural North Carolina. So we got to New York City. They had this like long itinerary of things we were going to do and like places we were going to go and all this stuff. And I was like, man, I don't want to do all this boring crap. I want to go to a bunch of record stores and guitar stores and like do the fun stuff, you know? And my friend's dad was a chaperone. Now, unbeknownst to us, he had a little problem or addiction, if you know what I mean. So he would let us do whatever we wanted while he was off riding the white pony, if you get what I mean, the Colombian airline. Anyways, but so he let us do whatever we wanted. And so we decided that, because when we got back, we had to write reports on like all the things we did and saw. So we decided that we were going to like go to the library and get books about all these places and read them. And then, because I mean, there probably was, I guess there was internet, but we didn't have it. And then we were just gonna do whatever we wanted in New York City. So we went around all these. So I found this at a thrift store in New York City for like 50 cents. Anyways, carried it around New York City, and I read the back and like look at the label, and like that whole day I had it, and I didn't want to put it in my bag, so I left it in the hotel room the whole rest of the week. And then on the way back, we rode a train back. And the whole way back, I was just looking at it. So as far as like an album that I've looked at the most, it's this one, just because like I spent hours just like drooling over it. I don't know, like at that point, I just loved that record so much. It's got Along the Watchtower on it. I don't know. It's just kind of a funny story. I have a lot of stories that kind of come from that story. There's like some crazy things we did. We went to like record stores and guitar stores all day. Every day we figured out how to ride the subway. Like, we just had fun. It was great. It was one of my best memories. And then like we went back to New York City. Me and my friend did this like not last year, but I guess in 2019. And it just wasn't the same. So, showing an album that needs a vinyl pressing. Well, I don't have it because it needs a vinyl pressing, but this may shock some of you guys, but I would love to see a vinyl pressing of POD Satellite. Man, that was just the teenage angst of my youth. I would like to see that on vinyl. There is a vinyl pressing of it, but I think it's like really rare and way more expensive than that album should be. But I'd like to have one. Next one is a common album and an uncommon album. I don't have a lot of super common albums. I mean, I got all like Zeppelin common albums and Pink Floyd common albums, but this is one I thought would be weird for me to show, so I did. This is common. This is the Iron Man 2 soundtrack. Now, why do I have this, you might ask? And that is because one time I was at a yard sale, and this guy had a bunch of albums out there for $5 each. And I'm like, $5 each is kind of rich for my blood. So what year did this come out? This was 2010. So this was probably like 2013 maybe. But he had a lot of albums out. Actually, I have another album in this stack from him. I'll tell you when I get to it. But anyways, and he did graphic design for some place that put out albums. So anyways, this is one of the albums that he did graphic design for. So he said that like they would give him all types of like free albums and stuff from anything that firm or business had any part in. So he got tons of free stuff. So I mean, I got stacks of like really cool albums for $5 each. This was one of them, and he signed the back of it right here. But it was just kind of cool. But I don't have a lot of AC/DC albums. When I want to listen to AC/DC, I throw this bad boy on. You might not think it, but it is one heck of an AC/DC comp, because that's pretty much all it is. I mean, it says AC/DC John on the top. What else would it be? But I mean, Iron Man, you know, whatever. It's probably a good movie. It's been since 2010 since I've seen it. But this is a cool record. Just for that reason that I found it, and then the guy that did the graphic design autographed it, and it was $5, and it's got a bunch of good AC/DC songs on it. That's all we need to know. And an uncommon album. I haven't shown this one in a while. This is Gila. Some really good prog. Really like this album. This is one I should be talking about a lot more. I haven't heard it in a long time, but this is when I found this, it was one of my favorite albums to listen to for like 3 months. This is all I listened to. So it's a really, really good, tough to find prog record. Next one is Show an EP. I just grabbed a random EP. I just showed the Metallica EP, so I didn't want to show that one. And this one, Bon Iver, Blood Bank. I really like earlier Bon Iver stuff. Some of his like last couple albums, I haven't even really given much of a chance, but this just, what year did this come out? 2009. Yeah. So me and my wife were dating at this point, and like this was just the type of stuff we listened to together that we both really liked, and we were writing some songs together, and just kind of, I don't know, it brings me back to that point, and it only has 4 songs on it. It's an EP, and every time it snows, we listen to it. I don't know why. I mean, I guess it has snow on the front. That's why, but it's just one of those things. Show a girl group. I was going to show the Runaways, but I thought, hey, that's boring. I'm going to show the Feminine Complex. This is a cool record I recently got. All female psychedelic band. It's really good stuff. I love this record. I found it at the guy that has the attic, his house. He kind of charged me a lot for this record. I mean, it's worth a lot. I mean, it's worth enough. But he still gave me a little bit of a deal on it. But it was just one. It was in the shrink. It was a fantastic copy. But this is really good psychedelic rock. And these girls are just rocking out. And it's really good. Next one is an album cover that you love. Haven't shown this one in a while. Satan is Real by the Louvin Brothers. This is a record I looked for like 10 years before I found it. And then I found two on the same day at two different places. That's how it happens, guys. But really controversial cover. I doubt the devil looks like that. But anyways, we won't get into that. But just kind of a controversial album cover for the time. The Louvin Brothers, I could make a hour-long video about the Louvin Brothers. So freaking interesting. Just their blood harmony, they call it. Just the way that they sang together so flawlessly. And they changed between harmony and melody, and you could barely tell who was singing what. They were so incredible together, but had such a tumultuous relationship. They were singing gospel songs because that's what they were paid to do, but they just had a hard life, and they were just singing like, it wasn't all like, you know, God is good, like all the other gospel records were singing. You know, this was like the real gritty, hard parts of life. It's fantastic. It's real stuff, you know, but I love the album cover. I won't get into that. Maybe I'll talk more about Louvin Brothers later. Album that you've listened to the most this year. There's no secret. I've listened to Joni Mitchell Blue more than any other record. It is so good. I don't know why, but it's just been one. And this is another one. I picked two because I originally picked this one. If I'm talking about a record I've listened to the most in my life, now we're not talking about Zeppelin 3 or any of the Zeppelins for that matter. This is a record I don't show very often, but I have listened to this record thousands of times. This is We Have Cause to Be Uneasy by Wild Sweet Orange. This is a really good band. I discovered them on MySpace around 2006. What is it? 6, 7, something like that. I'm shooting in the dark here, but I'm around 2006, 2007. I found them on MySpace, and they were fantastic. Just really good. I'm trying to think of like what would be a good comparison to them. I don't know. They're really, really good, like The Fray, but a little weirder in a good way, like a really good way. I don't know. Anyways, there's another band that I could tell that they really sound a lot like and they draw influence from, but I can't remember what the name of that band is. Anyways, I digress. This is a really good record, and I listened to this thousands of times. Not from this record, but like I had the CD, I went to their show, I saw them live, I listened to all the tracks digitally, I bought I didn't used to buy a lot of records on iTunes. I bought this one because I wanted to support the band because they were so good. They ended up breaking up like 2008 or something, and I always wanted this record. It's really hard to find, it's kind of expensive. And then at that yard sale, the AC/DC one, the guy that did the album art, this was there for $5, and I was like, what? So that, like, the odds of that happening, it's not like finding an old Stooges record or something. It's like, that's even more rare because why would that even be at a yard sale? Anyways. Let's see. An album that you've listened to the most. An album that you had to get an OG copy of. Now, I can't put my finger on it. It's around here somewhere. But one album that I really wanted to get an original copy of was 13th Floor Elevators, Psychedelic Sounds. That's somewhere in my recently listened to stacks. I can't find it. But that's an album I had to have an original copy of, and I actually never had a reissue of it. I was like, I'm going to find an original, and I did. This is another one that I have a reissue of, and I've got to find an original. This is on the top of my wants, is Toad. This is a crazy good record. Really good face-melting guitar solo prog rock. It's fantastic. You want to see the other half of this Toad's face? Let's do it. Splat out. But really good stuff. That's one of my favorite records, and I've got to get it. I've got to get a copy of that. The last album you purchased. This is the last thing I purchased. This is a Grateful Dead, Saint of Circumstance, Giant Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, June 17th, 1991. Now, this is still sealed. I have not listened to it yet, but I'm going to very soon. But this is the last thing I ordered for myself, for my distributor. I don't do that a lot, but I do it frequently. An album they don't get. So that's like an album that people don't understand. They don't understand. You like this record, but nobody gets it. They think you're weird. This is one that I recommend all the time, and people tell me all the time, you're nuts. I don't get it. And they return it to the store. They buy it and they return it because they're like, I don't like this record. You said you talk so highly about it, and it's just nuts. But the people who love it really love it. Can you guess? It's not Trout Mask Replica. This is Miles Davis, The Brew. This is an incredible record, but you have to be a little more open-minded than Kinda Blue, Miles Davis. This is not something you're going to go listen to with your mom or your grandma, unless she's awesome. This is really good. It teeters. I forget that it teeters a little bit on the free jazz side of things. As far as Miles Davis, I mean, I listen to this like a lot. So for me, it's like easy listening to me. Like it's not hard for me to listen to this and enjoy it. And the other, like probably 2 years ago, I turned it on in the car while we were driving, and my wife was like, "What the heck is this?" And I'm like, "This is Miles Davis." She's like, "No way, this is Miles Davis." I was like, "Yeah." So it's funky. It's funky, and it's like a little off the beaten path. So a lot of people that I recommend this to, they're like, "I don't get that. I don't get that record. I don't get why you would," So you have to have a little bit of an open mind. It's not going to be one that just crawls in your ear and snuggles you to, warmth. It's going to be one that crawls in your ear and bounces around, and you fight with it a little bit, but then you make friends. Next one is a punk album. This is my favorite one I found this year, Misfits, Wolf's Blood, which is the same thing as Earth AD. This is the German cover, which I think's cooler. Other than that, you don't want to see that. But yeah, this is pretty cool stuff. This year I really got more into the Misfits than I kind of wanted. Like all my life, I've heard people talk about the Misfits, and I've been like, I listened to a couple songs here and there, and I'm like, eh. But this year, like, I really got into listening to them and kind of studying them and trying to figure out what all the hype's about, and I have become a fan. Let's see, the last one is Favorite 2020 Reissue. You guys know what this is going to be. This is Randy Holden, Population 2. I had a little hand in this, of getting this reissued. I met Randy and kind of hooked him up with Ride and Easy Records. And so I had a lot of skin in the game with this one. And I knew Randy pretty well and kind of formed a friendship with him. He's been one of my guitar idols my whole life. I've loved him. I've always said he was my favorite guitar player. People are like, who the crap's that? This is an obscure record. I've heard there's only 88 copies out there in the world. I would love to get an original copy of this, but they're really tough to find. If you have one, holla. But this is a fantastic record. We reissue that this year. I've got copies of it on my website still, a few. I'll put the link to that below. You can get them from me and get the limited edition, like swirl vinyl, whatever. And I'll put the link, there'll be a link under there that says Randy Holden. You can click there and get it if you want one. But if you don't worry about it. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. Anyways, hope y'all enjoyed this video. It's just a little bit of fun. Hope you guys can join in and make videos. I love to see them. Send me, I love the comments that you guys send me. I do read them all. I don't always get a chance to respond to them, but I really like to see your comments. And so tell me some of your favorite finds this year, some of your answers to those questions that you think I would enjoy. And I'd like to get to know you guys. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram. We're always posting nice and juicy things. Don't forget that you can buy new records on our website. Pretty much anything you can think of. So click that link below to our main website, and we will see you next time.